A quick update about Campi Flegrei, the super volcano in Naples in Italy. We have another, well, the officials say another earthquake swarm. I'm saying this is over 4 weeks now. We're approaching week number 5 at least, with almost daily earthquake swarms. So there is another one going on right now. So let's have a look. So the last one is 1.8, 1.3, 1.4, 1.4, 2.2, that all on November 9th, 1.4, but also if you go down here on November 8th, also a swarm, and then we go down November 7th, 2.2 also, and then on the 6th, on the 5th, on the 4th, on the 3rd, Vesuvius is speaking to us, but also Campi Flegrei, and I can go back weeks like that. So let's have a look where the 2.2, where the epicenter of that is. And again, it's not a surprise, as always. If I zoom in, of course, it's near Pozzuoli, it's near the Solfatara area. And again, this is one where I'm always speaking about. So if you look at, you see here that purple, pinkish Tangenziale di Napoli. That is this street that I'm showing you here with all the columns, and that road, it's a highway, Autobahn, Autostrada, that looks like this. And it's not retrofitted for earthquakes yet. Probably will take till end of 2027. And we have a lot of epicenters right there, as if the volcano was to say, well, you've chosen that as your major evacuation route, but what if I collapse that with an earthquake prior to something worse, for example? Because the earthquake, the new earthquake or volcanic evacuation plan, well, they call it now volcanic eruption evacuation plan, that they were just rehearsing on November 5th and 6th for the people that they want to evacuate by boat to Sicily and Sardinia. I've reported about that, guys. If you want to see that, check out my playlist, Campi Flegrei. But for all the other people, they have dedicated roads that go straight up to the Via Tangenziale, and the plan is that people go to collection points where there's bus drivers and buses that directly lead them up to the Via Tangenziale. And these earthquakes that we see there, we will definitely see larger earthquakes before a potential eruption. So what if that major evacuation route is damaged? And guys, you should really watch the video that I put in the end screen with the recent study.
Fawn Burns here. 2 big updates for you. We've had magnitude 6.8 and 6.4 earthquakes rupture off the coast of Japan. That looks likely to actually increase in severity. That could be a foreshock sequence. We also at the same time have had a 1.7 X-class flare blast off from exactly Earth direct and bullseye, launching a coronal mass ejection out towards the Earth. We can see that with our CCOR1 coronagraph view. Here we see that full halo coronal mass ejection. We're just getting this imagery in. I'm reporting on it very fast after it occurred. We don't have a space weather model from any of the different agencies as I'm recording this now, but based off of the velocity of this coronal mass ejection, how it pushes out, it's exactly Earth center direct. That looks like a 48 to 72 hour timeline. And I would expect that we have G2 geomagnetic storming that's likely going to result from that. It could be more severe than that, that we've already been in some significant geomagnetic storming over the past few days, which has preconditioned us. Now here we have our earthquake activity for the past 24 hours, and this is just showing what's occurring in Japan. You'll notice that this is set for the entire Earth for highest magnitude, and well, they're all taken up by these earthquakes in Japan except for this one, Port Blair, India, which in fact is the location of an earthquake swarm that's been occurring on and off. So there's a few places on the Earth right now which have been rumbling kind of continuously, and they seem to activate when other areas activate. But here we have this 6.8 and 6.4. Typically, if you get an aftershock, it's going to be 1 magnitude less. That's a pretty good rule. It's not always true, but in general, that's the deal. So a 6.8 would mean that the strongest aftershock would be a 5.8. This is a 6.4. That's 0.6 more. It's quite a lot more. You see the 5.9, 5.7, 5.6, 5.6, 5.5. That is anomalous. In fact, this was already anomalous yesterday when I posted about the magnitude 5 earthquake swarm that was occurring there that ramped up to now this 6.8 and 6.4, which could ramp up more. It's very similar to what occurred with the Great Tohoku earthquake in 2011. And the thing is when you have a whole bunch of earthquakes in close magnitude proximity and they're also pretty high magnitude. Magnitude 5 would fit that definition very quickly. That makes it anomalous. I posted about this on Twitter. Japan does have a history of earthquake swarms. This is still anomalous and worth watching closely. And well, yeah, it was worth watching closely. And I think it's going to continue to be worth watching closely because I would say there's a very high likelihood now of there being a magnitude 7 earthquake here, perhaps even a magnitude 8 earthquake, because this is looking very similar to the Great Tohoku earthquake sequence leading up to the magnitude 9.1. And this area right here has been loaded with seismic energy from Kamchatka, where we've had a ton of earthquakes, multiple magnitude 7s, that magnitude 8.8 megaquake, tons of magnitude 6s and 5s and 4s. This would be the earthquake shadow. This would be the earthquake shadow where you're having stress get relieved off the fault. But once you move out of that, this is the stress loading zone. This is a stress loading zone from all that seismic energy release. This is the zone of one of the greatest seismic energy releases of all time since observations have begun. So the 6th strongest year on record for earthquake activity, and almost all of it in terms of seismic energy density is located right here. Now we have Japan acting back up, and it recently ruptured too. That's the thing. If this was a while ago, like 50 years ago, then you know that fault has had time to cool down. It's also a time to build up, but when things are recent in time, they can stay activated. And 2011 is not that long ago. Here we see all the earthquakes that occurred in March of 2011, leading up to a minute before the Great Tohoku earthquake at 5:46 a.m. Universal Time on the 11th of March. And so you see how similar this looks to what's happening right now. And you'll notice the location is the exact same location. Again, we can go here. It is spot on the same location. So this is definitely something to be watching very closely, as you can tell. And 7.3 is the highest earthquake. That was a foreshock sequence. That was the highest foreshock. And if you just saw this, you could say, oh, that's pretty anomalous and that's an unusual earthquake swarm. And 7.3 is pretty strong. And you'd be right. And then a 9.1 occurred. So it ramped up significantly after that 7.3. So just because we have had a 6.8 and a 6.4 does not mean that is all she wrote. If you have a magnitude 8 earthquake, the amount of energy that this is released is insignificant in comparison, because you go up 1 order of magnitude and that is 32 times more energy.